Oftentimes, we're faced with decisions in our lives that feel like a crossroads. You know the feeling. Should I move? Should I end that relationship? Should I quit that job? These leaps always feel challenging, and a lot of the times, they change everything. And yet, 6 months ago, I made the very difficult decision to leave success and financial stability behind. I am a 25-year-old quarter lifer who quit my very lucrative job in corporate real estate to learn and practice 3D, specifically Blender, and with zero background knowledge, and I had no plan for a career. In fact, I even had to become a server at a ramen shop so that I could have more time to obsessively learn. 3D art is a field that blends infinite creativity with technical skill, allowing the artist to take their imagination and turn it into reality with very little limitation. It's a boundless creative endeavor that excites me probably more than anything. But I wasn't about to sit down in another soul-sucking cubicle or spend a ton of money on school with no real direction. So I had to just start practicing. But today, I want to talk about how and why I did it, as well as my 6-month Blender progress. To make things a little more interesting, I'm going to put my beginner Blender skills to the test and try to make a bowl of ramen. And with that, let's get started. I have my blank screen in front of me. I want to just address all the haters. Yes, I use light theme. I am not from the tech world, and I did not realize that everybody uses the classic gray theme. But as of right now, you guys can fight me if you want. All right, I'm gonna start with a circle because that's how I know how to make bowls. Okay, we have our bowl. I'm gonna go ahead and add a material now. I'm gonna set the base color to this light green because I think it's really cute. I think any sane person would probably start with noodles or broth or meat or anything really that is supposed to go in ramen, but I really want to start with the Naruto fish cakes because I think they're super cute. Adding another circle, tabbing into edit mode, selecting half and deleting it, creating a mirror modifier. Extrude, bevel this, shade smooth. I'm gonna go ahead and add a path and then tab into edit mode, subdivide. I'm just gonna increase the depth. It seems to thicken it. Make sure that this looks good on top of it. I'm gonna give this a nice pink color called the swirl color. That's perfect. I'll give this a material. And if you've ever eaten these in real life, they are kind of shiny. So I'm gonna go ahead and give it like a little bit of shininess, but I think I'm gonna give it a sheen so that it looks more rubbery. Now I'm gonna take these two objects and I'm actually going to join them so that they become one object. That's so cute. I'm actually kind of proud. So the question is, why would I quit my corporate job to learn Blender? Why would anyone do that? Well, it all started with a real estate campaign where I was supposed to contact a 3D artist to make a render of a building. At the time, I was already pretty dissatisfied with my job, and it was shocking to me to learn that the 3D artist wanted to charge us $12,000 for the render. And I remember thinking, couldn't I make this in Blender? I'd heard of the donut tutorial before, and I decided now is my time. I'm gonna learn the donut tutorial, I'm gonna get super good at this program, and I'm gonna make 3D renders of buildings and make $12,000 every day. Even at my amateur level, I've already completed at least 6 full YouTube tutorials and 1 masterclass on environment art. And yet I'm nowhere near being good at it or making any money off of 3D art. But it's crazy because now I don't even care. I'm having fun, it's a very immersive hobby, and I just want to be happy. Anyway, super on brand, but during this project, something that I thought was going to be really easy, which is the chashu pork, ended up being a straight struggle. Okay, I just finished the noodles and now it's time to move on to the meat and the vegetables, and those should be pretty easy for me. It took me at least an hour to go from making some kind of lame little square of meat to something more realistic that was really not fitting for the piece, to finally settling on making some sort of spiral for the meat and then utilizing shader nodes to put some variation in the color. And then after all that work, right as I was about to call it a day, I discovered that there was a huge issue with my noodle simulation and it was miserably failing in the render. Not to mention, I don't even really understand the physics behind the cloth simulation I was using. I literally just clicked buttons until I found something that made the render look normal. Okay, I've been at this for literally hours, but I think it's because if the subdivisions are different in the viewport and the render, then it causes big issues with how it looks. But I'm really glad that I figured out it was the subdivisions after all this time because I was worried that it just wasn't gonna work. Thankfully, she got it together and we managed to make the noodle simulation work in the end. The next day, I knew that I needed to sprinkle green onions on top of my ramen, but I did not want to place each one individually. Because I was feeling lazy, I actually ended up up deciding to use a particle system for my green onions. After that, it was just finishing touches like the seaweed. I made some chopsticks for the animation, and I was finally done. And with that, here's another project. Anyways, in my opinion, it's a little underwhelming, but I have mixed feelings about it because I did work really hard. To close out, since quitting the ramen shop, I did manage to find a more fulfilling job. Creating this silly little piece of art was kind of a way of me honoring that pivotal time in my life, a moment where I stepped back, refocused, and rediscovered my true self. If you, like me, are feeling stuck or dissatisfied in your job or in any part of your life, I have some advice to share based on my experience. We often get caught up in the narrative set for us. I'm guilty of that too. I went to college right after high school. I got a full-time job right away once I graduated. I didn't give myself a second to even think about what was right for me or what suited my personality. But I'm here to say that I think there's always a choice, no matter how difficult that seems. If you never allow yourself to experience the discomfort of failure, you may miss out on the opportunity to find the autonomy and the intrinsic motivation necessary to be truly happy. And I'm not gonna lie, when I quit my corporate job, I was terrified, but I have discovered that the only way to succeed when you feel like the odds are all stacked against you is to just lean into that uncertainty. Embrace what you don't know, because you might discover that you can trust yourself in ways that you never thought were possible. Anyway, I got 60,000 views on my last video. That is way better than 25. That's like over a 200,000% increase. But don't worry, I'm not gonna let it go to my head, but I am insanely grateful. I've learned so much from the comments on my last video, whether it's to use the mirror modifier or that it's vertex and not vertice, but I appreciate every single piece of advice, and it's helping and propelling me to get better faster. Thank you so much for watching. I don't even know what to say. I mean, can we get this video to 25 views?